Hey, welcome back friends. Today's video is about this overhead storage that I've installed from FLEXIMOUNTS. Now, we get a lot of stuff from Lifford to give to you guys, something we love to call Campground Santa, but it's posing a problem for me. The channel just doesn't make enough money to buy like a warehouse or to rent a warehouse, and I'm quickly losing garage space. So that's why we've teamed with FLEXIMOUNT. That's the sponsor of this video. They sent these racks out for me to install, review, and show you guys. So that's what we're doing today. We're going to install them. As far as the review goes, it's pretty straightforward. I've had another set over here. You can kind of see where that's at. I've had it up for a couple of months now. I've been very happy with it. But the main purpose of this is to store extra RV stuff. And yeah, it's just become a real problem. I'm running out of garage space. I know the ideal situation is, hey, you probably got too much junk. Yeah, I get it. I'm just not in that season of throwing stuff away yet. I'd like to be, but I'm not. So get over it. So anyway, today we're going to talk about the FLEXIMOUNT system. We're going to show you how to install it, and it's really handy. I love being able to utilize this plus part of the garage. I hope you'll stick around. Okay friends, through the magic of editing, this is what we're looking at before we start the install. I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time. It's fairly simple. You can see the install over here, and we basically just have to install these rails at the top, and then these drop downs, and then install the rack. It's fairly simple. My biggest compliment to FLEXIMOUNTS is all of these bolt holes matched up, and all of them were easy to deal with. So that is a huge plus. But this is what we're dealing with beforehand. Aesthetically, I think it's a little more pleasing maybe, but this is so much more functional. Yeah, let's get started installing. Here is the rack that we're putting up today from FLEXIMOUNTS. And FLEXIMOUNTS reached out to me a couple months ago now. We got the flu, and man, I've really meaning to do this video for a while, but kind of whooped us. But they reached out a few months ago and asked if I was interested, and I'm like, you know what, if I've got extra camping stuff, I bet other people do too. And here is the model we went with, the 4x8. They come in various sizes. Obviously you can see you can adjust them up and down based on how shallow or deep you'd want them. But yeah, this is the larger model, and we've got two of them. But again, they go to FLEXIMOUNTS. I'll link the website in the description box below, and you can check out and see what kind of sizes they have. It's very likely they have a size that will meet your needs. A couple things here. Again, the height adjustment, 22 inches to 40 inches from the ceiling, and then the weight capacity, 600 pounds. You know, I really see no reason why it wouldn't hold 600 pounds. I mean, you've got, you know, what is that, 12 screws into studs up there, all steel hardware. And yeah, it feels pretty solid. So everything's you know, L channel brackets. Yeah, I think it definitely would hold 600 pounds. But yeah, let's get going on this rack. So just a real quick tip: the ceiling mounted brackets, L brackets here, have the long slots, so that way you can adjust back and forth once you get them up there. And you can make sure that they're hitting each of your studs. You won't have an issue there. The drop downs, on the other hand, are square. These are going to lock in the nut as you're tightening it up. So, and yeah, the other ones are round. So the ceiling mounted brackets will be the long slots. So some pretty hefty screws here. I mean, that's as long as my pinky, right? So you can see where the 600 pounds is very feasible. These are driving into those studs. Yeah, it should give us some pretty good weight capacity. Okay guys, you can see I got my first two L brackets up there, and you can see I'm overlapping a little bit, and the reason being, I'm overlapping from this one here, and the reason being is I want to be able to open this shutter over here. So ideally, you know, it would probably look best if we did one all the way to one side and one all the way to the other, but then I wouldn't be able to open that. So I'm kind of bumping them up against each other. Also, I'm not going to have this issue with this particular mount, but the last mount, the first mount, you can see is flush against the wall here. I actually ended up putting these drop downs, I already bolted them in, and then I installed the L bracket after that. So install that bolt from the outside in, and then install the bracket up there on the ceiling. That's just a little trick I learned while installing one flush to the wall. Okay, we've got all of our ceiling brackets in, and now we'll just have to measure 48 inches from here to here, and then 48 inches again from here to here. And that's why I like these flexi mounts so much because they are flexible. You can see you've got all those different options there. And even when you're installing these brackets, you don't have to be perfect. Now, obviously, you want to measure and do a good a job as you can, but it certainly does not take a professional. It's not like you have to be at, you know, perfect measurements every single time. And even when you're dropping those brackets down, you don't have to be perfect. But yeah, that's one reason I guess that's why it's called flexi mounts, because they do give you a little bit of wiggle room when you're installing. You don't have to, your measurements don't have to be down to the 1/32 of an inch. All right, just another heads up, your corner brackets, well, they look like corners. And then your center bracket, they're actually flat. So big difference there. You can see here's another corner, and here is your center brackets. So give you another example of how flexible these flexi mounts are. I know that seems like a terrible pun, but you can see my nut is on the outside here because I couldn't get my driver obviously on the other side with that rack there. But then I can also come at it the other way and drive the nut from the inside. So yeah, just again, you know, it's just nice that you don't have to be perfect. Make sure when you're installing these drop downs that the L bracket is going to cradle the rack once you're in. Obviously, the rack's going to be on this side. Back you up a little bit. There you go. The rack's going to be on this side, and so it'll drop down into this little bracket right here. Make sure to measure one more time before I move forward. And yeah, we're good. That should be fine. All right, guys, we've got our brackets up, and we should have plenty of room over here to open this up. As you can see, plenty of room there. That is a good thing. Makes me happy. Now, let's go over here, and we need to build the racks themselves. So one thing I learned very quickly in the first time around was in this particular set, in the 4x8 set, only build 2 4x4 racks. And then the one rack will mount right here, and then there's a center mount there, and then we'll bring the other rack from this side and mount it to the center as well. So yeah, let's get going. Okay, one thing I really want to mention about this kit, and this is my favorite thing about this entire kit, is everything just lines up. It drives me nuts in a situation like this. I'm putting on the bracket to attach these two, and I can't tell you how many times I've had items where, you know, these two may go in fine, but then one of these is cattywampus and you got to kind of force it. It's just not exact. With the FLEXIMOUNTS kit so far, this is the second kit I've done, everything lines up very well. I was literally able to start all of these with my hand, and it just makes life so much easier. Okay, friends, there she is. Nice and level. Still got plenty of room to open my shutters over here. And a lot more room for storage. Now let's load it up.